I think it's important to understand that the defensive system and this phobia is an autonomic avoidance. It's autonomic. This resistance, as we're calling it, is not a conscious attempt to stop something. As a matter of fact, I mean, we've had clients here we've worked with, their anxiety is so high, and they are sitting there breathing, trying to get past it. They're trying to breathe it out, trying to calm themselves down, but they can't get past it. We were using the analogy that Roger used. It's like trying to lift the presidential limousine. That resistance is, it's overwhelmingly profound. It's not like it's just, well, they're just not motivated. It's real important to realize resistance is autonomic. It's a knee-jerk reaction, knee-jerk. So how do we deal with it? Well, we talk about this idea of enjoining with the AMP, building trust, informed consent. What does that look like? I will literally talk with clients about the fact that we have these aspects that manage ourselves. So we do psychoeducation about the fact that we, as an advanced organism, have an ability to compartmentalize and divide labor. That's why we're on the top of the food chain. I mean, it's actually, it's a good thing. We're doing it right now. We're putting off in our minds what we're going to do this afternoon, and we're sort of forgetting about what we were doing earlier, mostly. And we're focusing in this moment. That ability to do that is part of that process. We're able to do that. That's a good thing. We can compartmentalize time. So, and that we have management, a management executive function. So we want to strengthen through psychoeducation the awareness of, and even the phobia of the fact that we have parts of self. Because some people with all the movies and everything, think that's Sybil, and their head's going to start spinning. And, it's not DID. We all have aspects of self, parts of self. And so normalizing that first. Educating about the fact that that person obviously has a management system, a safety management system that's got them to that right here now today. They're not dead. Regardless of what's happened to them, they're still alive and kicking. They're still here. Something worked. Regardless of all the problems that they're bringing with them, something kept them alive. Something brought them right here now. And we, therapist and client, need to appreciate and give some homage and appreciation for the fact that you're watching out for yourself. Somehow you got a part of you that is able to protect you. And almost invariably, clients automatically, I notice a downregulation, and they'll, yes, okay. And what you're also giving validation to is their native ability to cope, what native solutions they've developed. You're validating those native solutions. And that part is never going to be willing to hear any new ideas from you unless, number one, it knows that you're validating its native solutions. It's got to know that. And you got to be sincere. It can't be condescending. It's got to be really genuine. They're sitting right there. They're functioning, relatively speaking, from a world standard. They're functioning reasonably well from a world standard. So from that point of view, it's done its job. So appreciating that. And then really talking about informed consent, that we don't want to do anything. We're not going to, we want the safety manager to be part of a team. We don't want to walk in and try to knock it out and say that we have these newfangled approaches here that are going to, deal with the whole thing and railroad over your native indigenous methods of coping and surviving. We want that manager to be on a team. Invite that manager to a team and ask if the manager is okay with even considering that, and ask them to ask their own manager what its concerns are. Engage this aspect of self in a dialogue, a self-reflective dialogue. Realizing that our management system can have different components as well. If we think of ego psychology, the executive functioning of the ego is conceptually made up of the consideration of perception, cognition, adaptive, protective, defensive, object relations, emotional management. And those axes between those functions of psyche, we call the executive functioning of the ego. So there may be an executive on the board, okay? There may be a safety manager. There may be protective parts there may be protective parts that are part of that management system as well. And this isn't really a talk to go into all of that. But all I'm saying is there is also division of labor on the management board. So that executive part of self, that adult centralizing, focalizing part of self, can look at that safety manager also as part of the management team. And that we would want, ideally, to get that management team to, be able to have some sense of confidence that what we're saying is real, that manager will step up to its responsibilities, and if there's a danger, it's going to let us know and put its hand up and say, halt the machinery. And we're not asking it to get out of the way or defer from its responsibility. We're asking it to step up even more, but as a team with some continuing education, some organizational updates, some in-service. This is like the old plant manager who's been around since the beginning of the company. Knows everybody, knows all the family, knows all the quirks of the machinery, but it may not have had much of an education. So it needs to realize that we're trying to bring in some new information, and we will be willing to demonstrate to the system its utility. We're not asking it to believe anything under faith whatsoever. We will demonstrate